Hello, today what I basically thought I would do is I would talk about the last painting that I did, which was Virgin Without Child, which I titled. Well, I guess, yeah, I'm gonna talk about that piece. And the piece, I started this book for it, where I was sketching out sort of how it would look, the arrangement and things before I started the painting. The painting itself is sort of inspired by this piece, which is called Virgin with Child in Glory, which is in the Walker Art Gallery in Liverpool. And so my piece has the same arrangement of the characters, almost exactly as this. For example, over in this corner there's these characters, and in mine there is also those ones, like a close-up whereby you can see that character and that character looking in the same direction and so forth, and so they're basically in mine they're the same characters but older, essentially. They're just older, but the same characters doing the same positions, looking in the same sorts of directions as the original. So I did some sketches of how the arrangement would be, keeping the arrangement the same as in the original that inspired the piece, essentially. And so basically, as a reference point, I used the piece Virgin and Child in Glory. So I didn't use like any photos of people or anything, apart from one photo of my head, essentially. I just used one photo of my head, but I didn't use any photos of my body or photos of men or anything like that. I just essentially I just worked out how I wanted things to look, and just to look similar in positions and so forth to the original, and just did that. Worked off sketches that I made, things like that. Yeah. Put that aside now. I did. I've got this. I wrote this to give to my teacher a few weeks ago. I had to read this to the class at some stage, and it was really hard to do. I was like sweating and stuttering and stuff. So I'm a bit anxious about reading it now, because I just didn't go well reading it the first time. Not because it's bad writing, but just because reading is reading when you know people are going to. Okay. Basically, I began. I began the project by thinking about the different poses that people make, and how if you stick your tongue out, then it could be taken as you being playful or cheeky, or it could mean that you're unwell and you're in like a doctor's office. So those can have contradicting meanings, even though they're the same pose. So I was thinking about poses So I thought about 3 different poses in the end for the project at the beginning, which I was looking at, which were hands behind your head, which can mean you're stressed or you're relaxed, because you could be like pulling out your hair so your hands are on your head, or you can be just like, oh, just relaxed, just watching clouds or whatever. And the second pose I was looking at was people looking away, or with their backs to you, so you can't see what their emotions are because you can't see their eyes. You can't see what they're looking at. Is it distracting them, or are they worried? And that started, I guess, by seeing the piece Orpheus by Cy Twombly, because then that's like something behind you anyway. The third pose I was looking at was people hugging each other, because then you get touch and communication. So those were the 3 basic poses that I was looking at the beginning of the year, to be working from, to be painting people, basically. So it's basically how one pose can have various meanings and stuff, and comparing that and thinking about that. So I was depicting people in these ways. And so in the end, when I was looking at Virgin in Child, because Virgin in Child and Glory, because it's my favourite painting, basically. And so I thought about my favourite painting, a painting which is in room 3 of the Walker Art Gallery. It is titled Virgin in Child. Virgin in Child is a statement which is in itself a contradiction, because for that she would have to be pregnant and a virgin, and virginity and pregnancy, they're contradicting things, which is just like the idea that you can be in a pose and it could have contradicting emotions. That's what I was going on towards in my project, is getting my pieces to have like a further meaning than just contradicting emotions. So I started to think about involving the themes of religion, because in religion there can be some contradictions, like you've got judgment, and you've got bliss, you've got wrath and love, you've got heaven and hell, and you've got being pregnant and a virgin. It's very opposing. So that's something I wanted to put into my work, because it's like the ultimate contradiction, being a virgin and a mother. So at the start of the year it was just looking at contradicting emotions, and now it's like this major contradiction, being a virgin and pregnant. So that's why I was looking at this painting, and so I decided to recreate it, thinking about these poses and these contradictions and emotions, so I decided to remove the ambiguity from the sexualization of virginity within religion. I used this pose, which I've looked at before, with the hands behind the head and so forth, and the manner of which that exposes the subjects, and so while I was doing that, I thought that it's quite relevant, because of thinking about these contradictions with sexualization within religion, where you get this contradiction between virginity and pregnancy. I thought it quite relevant to look up the piece Ecstasy of St. Teresa, because that's another piece of which religion and sexualization are together as a subject point. And sex is quite a contradicting subject, because there's lots of pleasure there, but there's also the stigma and so anyway, basically my project is about contradicting emotions, and how these are displayed with people, and I'm probably quite bad at explaining it at the moment, but I also have a quote. I have this quote. I shall read the quote. In his hands I saw a great golden spear. At the iron tip there appeared to be a point of fire. This he plunged into my heart several times, so that it penetrated my entrails. When he pulled it out, I felt that he took with them it, and left me utterly consumed by the great love of God. The pain was so severe that it made me utter several moans. The sweetness caused by this intense pain was so extreme that one cannot possibly wish it to cease, which is a quote apparently by Saint Teresa, which is probably what motivated the piece. Saint Teresa. There you have pleasure and pain, which are contradictions. But yes, contradictions. There's another thing I was going to say was I already brought up that the reference point of my piece was the painting Virgin with Child, and that was pretty much the only reference that I used, apart from a photograph of my head. Thusly, well, I'm a virgin, so it was appropriate to use my own face. But thusly, the body of the main character, or the focal point, I don't really see as a self-portrait, because I don't see it as a self-portrait because I didn't use my own body as a reference, because I didn't use any body as a reference, essentially. Because down the centre of the piece there's basically the Virgin naked. However, I don't see that as being me, even though I used my own head, because I don't know, when I say I don't feel like I'm looking at a picture of myself, essentially, because there's differences, like well, I have like hair on my arms and little markings, and there's like scratches, and I'm a human being, and I have these such things, like with these dots and stuff, and like there's a dot. And I did not paint such things on, and most of the painting, like, it's over there, but you can't see it, which is why I looked over. Most of the painting was done without reference, so it's sort of more the general look of a female, basically. It's not specifically anyone, I would dare say. But it doesn't. It's not based off anyone specifically. It's not like I used a picture of myself. Essentially, apart from my face, I didn't use a picture for any of it. So it is. It's not like a self-portrait or anything. It's not about me. It's not a piece of artwork about myself. It's a piece of artwork about contradictions and emotion and religion and so forth. It's not a self-reflection. Although one thing I feel like saying is that if it was me in the painting, it wouldn't essentially matter. There has been nudity in art in the past, and there's going to be nudity in art in the future. The point of it is not who it is, essentially, to get the meaning from it. And when you're nude, it doesn't stop you being who you are anyway, regardless of whether that's within art or not. We're all human beings, and you should talk to people as if they're human, regardless of whether or not they're wearing clothes. Yeah.